The trend of re-election rates skyrocketing from near 50% past 90% over the last century or so is proof that gerrymandering has grown infinitely more sophisticated and efficient in recent times. Traditionally, the goal has always been to smoosh as many of your opponent's supporters into the fewest districts possible to dilute their voting power. With the advent of detailed computer analyses, it's possible to get much more granular with the data and pinpoint exactly who votes, how they vote, and where they live. It's not always a political bloodbath. The major parties are more than willing to cooperate. Some might call it collusion, as long as their market share stays relatively stable. But when things get close, the gloves come off. In highly competitive areas, gerrymandering can be deployed to destroy the other party's chances in an election. Two of the most popular techniques are packing and cracking. With packing, you cram as many of the other party's voters as you can into very few districts. With cracking, you spread your opponent's voters very thin into as many districts as possible. The goal for both techniques is the same: suppress the vote for the other team. If you can make it so that one side wins a district by 20 points, there's much less motivation to vote. If you convince the other side's supporters to not even show up, winning is even easier still. It's possible to see the results in states like Ohio, Pennsylvania, and North Carolina. All three are swing states, meaning that in a presidential contest, their populations are evenly divided enough between the two parties that they can swing the vote one way or the other, and therefore swing elections. Every 10 years after the constitutionally mandated U.S. Census, the district maps are redrawn for the U.S. House. In 2010, the maps for Ohio, Pennsylvania, and North Carolina underwent some extreme makeovers, House edition. Before 2010, Ohio congressional districts were pretty evenly split between Democrats and Republicans. In the next election, after being expertly gerrymandered, 50% of Ohioans voted Republican, giving them 75% of the House delegation. This is how dramatically gerrymandering can manipulate election results. Half the vote translates into 3/4 of the representatives. It was the same ratio in Pennsylvania in 2012. Half the votes went Republican, but Republicans won 3/4 of Pennsylvania seats in the U.S. House. In 2014, North Carolina Democrats won 44% of the votes, but only got 3 of the state's House seats, 23%. By the magic of gerrymandering, 2 votes become 3. For others, 4 votes become 2. If this phenomenon happened anyplace else, we would call it cheating. But in this country, it's effectively been happening forever, so it's accepted. Both sides do it, so the cliche justifications go. If you ask me, tradition is a stupid reason to consent to such a perversion of democratic will. Tomorrow we'll take a look at a revolution in gerrymandering tactics that took place in the early 2000s called Project Red Map, brainstormed by Carl Turd Blossom Rove himself. Please give us a like, follow, favorite, and subscribe to my free Substack. Let's make them pay. It's a baby buddy. Oh my gosh, it's a baby.